Hey everyone, my name is Eric and today I will be reviewing the Compro. This is the TN900RW and I added a link in the description below where you can find one and pick one up. Okay, so I'm going to go over a quick summary and then I'll get into all of its features. So first off, what I really liked about the camera is how incredibly easy it was to set up. I did everything from my cell phone. You do not need a computer to set this up. There's just a few short steps, and I'll show you how to go over all of this to get this thing ready. So I started out with IP cameras to just watch over my house, keep an eye on my pets. And the first one I got, it was a pain to set up. I had to get into my router. I had to go and set up the port forwarding. And it was just this huge, long process. It took me a couple hours. Even knowing a lot about computers, it was really difficult. I love Compro though. Only a couple steps. I had this thing up and running in just a couple minutes. Now, the build quality is phenomenal. The construction of it's a very solid plastic. It doesn't have that cheesy kind of cheap look that some of the IP cameras, some of the other IP cameras have on the market. In the back, you have your landline. You also have options for audio, and then you have your micro SD slot right there, your WPS and reset, and then your power cord. And your speaker is right here, and then your cooling vents, and then the bottom has your mounting bracket. It comes with this really nice sturdy metal mounting bracket, so if you do want to mount this upside down or on the wall somewhere, you can. It fits really nice and flush on there. And back here, this is your USB adapter. This is your wireless antenna, basically. This is going to be what transfers all the data to your router. And the range of motion for the pan and tilt is pretty good. You can almost see completely behind you. I'll go ahead and spin it around and show you guys how far back this thing goes. Okay, so that's fully back. And it can look pretty much straight up. Okay, so the first step to setting up your camera is just plug in the power cord, plug in the USB adapter, and then hook your camera up to your router. And then the second step is you can either find the C4 app in the App Store. You literally just search for C4 Home and you'll find it, or you can use one of the QR codes that you find in your instruction manual. Okay, so once you have the app, your instruction manual has a QR code to log you in. And if for some reason that didn't work, you can just manually input it. Now the information is on the bottom of your camera. And it's going to be this 10-digit code. And once you set that up, now you're all ready to go. Now your camera is live. You can see your camera right here. Okay, now I'll go over the app and show you guys all the functions and features of this app. So when you open it up, you're going to be on this page. Now this is going to list all the cameras you have here. I just have one camera, so there's just one popping up. And to adjust the settings, you're going to go to this arrow. And here is where you can adjust your settings. Camera alias, I'm just going to leave that alone. You can check your firmware, make sure your camera's up to date. If you want to change your password, flip mode is for if you mount this upside down on the ceiling, you can do that. If you want it to display the room temperature or not, here I'm in the US, so I have it displayed as Fahrenheit. You can choose Celsius if you want. And the next one we have streaming settings. So here the codec you cannot change. The resolution on this is the 720p camera, so the max I can go is 720. You can choose to go down to really low quality if you have maybe dial-up or just a slower connection. I leave it on 720 and there's no problem with my connection. Frame rate, if you want to bump it down, I would just leave it at 30. Quality, this one just has the 1 megabyte per second. I believe if you go with some of the higher quality Compro, you might be able to get that up to 1.5, maybe 2, but this one's just 1 megabyte per second. Okay, next one we have our notification settings. Okay, next you have motion detection. So anything that moves in your house, you can pick up. If you want highest setting, that is going to pick up pretty much every movement. If you want lowest, it's just going to pick up big objects like people walking by. You do have that option, which is nice. Okay, and then next you have audio detection. So if you want this to pick up and start recording when there's audio, you can. Okay, and then you have event recording. That's just going to record small video clips onto your micro SD card that you plug into the back of your camera. And then your cloud storage, if you can choose either one if you want, or both. If you want to have pictures sent to your Dropbox, you can. You just log into your Dropbox from here. I know the free account with Dropbox will give you 2 gigs, and you can reserve it to delete after a certain amount of days. I just have mine set on 15 days. And then temperature notifications, if you want to be notified when the temperature reaches maybe over 90 degrees, and then minimum, if it drops below 71, you can do that, and then it will send push notifications to your device. And if you guys are unfamiliar with what push notifications are, it's just these little tiny icons that pop up at the very top of your smartphone. So let's say there's a motion alert. I'm going to get this notification on my phone. So you click on that, it's going to take you to your app, and it's going to log me out of that one. And then see how it just notified me? It's because I'm moving in front of the camera. So I'm going to log in, and now I can view the events. So there's my camera. I go to the event section. There's been a motion right here. Click on that. And it's just me holding my cell phone, showing you guys. So that is a pretty cool function to have. Now, I am next to the camera, but if you're away, even in another state, this will still work, and it'll pull the data from the micro SD card on your camera. Okay, next we have our sharing settings. So if you want to share this with friends, if you have some big event, I don't know, maybe your dog had puppies or your cat had kittens and you want to share that with your friends, you can. And then next you have your privacy mode. So, if you get home, you don't want to unplug your camera, you can just put it on that, and it's going to make your camera pretty much private. No one can log in. And then when you leave and you want to enable it again, just uncheck that box. All right, and down here we have some more settings. Basically here, if the vibrating annoys you, you can disable that. If you want the push notifications, which is going to be what I just showed you, you can do that. Refresh media stream. So buffer size you can change. I'll leave that on medium. And then, of course, you can change your language. And then down here, right here in the middle, you see these windows. If you have more than one camera, you can set up and have a whole view of your entire house. Okay, now we're going to go into the camera. Okay, so you have options to move the camera. You can either go on the joystick down here, or you guys can also just do the swipe up, down, left, right. Also, what I really like about this camera is the 2-finger zoom. So if you guys want to zoom into one part of the video, you can. Now this is a digital zoom, so the more you zoom in, it will get pixelated. It's not the optical zoom, but still, it's pretty handy to have, especially on a smaller screen. Okay, then you guys have the camera button. If you want to take a snapshot, it's going to save the snapshot into the camera. You can view that later. If someone comes into your house that's not supposed to be there, or if you want to scare someone away, maybe someone breaks in, you do have a little alarm built in. It's kind of cool. You can keep pressing it. And that's just a little warning button. If you guys want to turn by default, the volume will be on, so you can hear what people are saying or what is going on in your place. You can disable that as well. It's kind of nice. And then the push to talk. Hey camera, how are you? So, that's kind of a cool feature to have. The quality of the audio is pretty decent. You can carry on a conversation. The person will have to be within a couple feet of the camera, but if there is something going on in the house, I noticed that the audio is pretty good. You can actually hear people talking. So now over here, this little kind of circle button, if you want to program certain spots that you want the camera to memorize. Okay, so I first want to move the camera to the spot I want to go. So let's just go straight up. Okay, and I'll go ahead and save this area. As up. Okay, so now you have your area. So I'm going to go back home. That's just going to bring the camera in its state where it starts off at. And now if you want to go back to up, you just press that. I mostly use this page because this is where I programmed a light, my stereo, and my TV. And to give you guys an example of what remotes will and won't work, I'm just going to show you. This is my remote for my radio. And the way you can tell is if it has this little kind of glass bulb at the very front. Here's a TV remote. It has the same thing. And here's an example of one that will not work. This is a Roku, and this works on radio frequency. So if you notice in the front, it doesn't have anything. And if you're trying to program this into the camera, it's not going to work. Now, one thing that Compro sells is they have this light switch right here, which works on infrared, so the camera can control this. And I'll show you how to set this up in case you do want to get a couple of these and control the lights around your house. So you're just going to plug that in and then plug in the light that you want to control. And what you're going to do is hold the on-off button until it flashes. So right now, all you have to do is take any kind of remote that you have around the house. I have my TV remote, and I'm going to press 0, and you'll see the light flash and it stops flashing. That means that now this 0 button will control this light. You can turn it on and off. And now what I'll do is I'll program the camera to this 0 button, so now the camera will be able to turn on and off this light. Okay, and now I'm ready to program that button so I can turn on and off the light with my camera. So I'm going to just go into my camera. I'm going to scroll over. And now what I'm going to do is hold down the one I want to program. It's waiting for my key, and I'm going to hold down the 0 and press it towards my camera. And it says key learned. So I just held that down, and then I took the remote, pressed 0, pointed it at the camera. So now when I press 1, I get the light to turn on and off. So now all I have to do is press the 1 to turn the light on and off. Okay, and last thing I wanted to talk about is the temperature. This is showing right now, it's showing 85 degrees. It's only 79. What I've noticed, it tends to be about 5 to 7 degrees warmer than what it really is indoors. And I believe that's just the warmth of the camera. Okay, and that's pretty much it. If you guys do have any questions about the Compro camera, please leave them in the comments below. Overall, it's a great, really high quality camera. I think it's really great that you can look over your house, especially if you have pets or babysitters, people, anyone coming in your house. It's always good to kind of know when they're coming and going, what they're up to. You do have the ability to talk to them. You can turn on and off lights, which is great if you go on vacation. You can make it appear that someone's home. There's just a lot of cool features about this camera. If you guys like it, I did put a link in the description below where you can pick one up. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.